Hey guys, what's going on? I'm back with Attack on Titan Season 4, Episode 3. I'm going to be watching it, and I'm going to be doing my best to break it down as much as I can. If you guys like my previous breakdowns, make sure you check that out. Okay, but before we get into that, let's do a small review of what happened in Episode 2. So, in Episode 2, the Marleyan War Council, they're sitting in what I believe was the Mid-Eastern Alliance's in their fort. They were sitting there and discussing their victory. And they were looking at I think it was a general, he was looking at the newspaper and he was basically saying, this isn't a victory. The rest of the world has made observations, true observations, that the power of the Titans is going to be surpassed by all the other nations' technology, anti-Titan technology, and everything else. And we have Wonder Boy Zeke step up, and that was really cool to see. Just the way they treat him. He was able to step up and say, hey, we need to take back the founding Titan from Paradise Island. Resume the operation. Zeke has a year to live before he passes on the Beast Titan's power to Colt. So he kind of threw Colt under the bus a little bit too. But it's just to further his agenda. You know, I really like Commander McGaff, and I explained why in my previous video. You know, he comes out and talks to Zeke and Colt, and he kind of reassures them. Zeke kind of reassures him, hey, we have a year to do this. I'm going to die anyways in a year. We'll get it done. Yeah, okay, in another big part of this episode, we get to kind of see into Reiner's mindset. He's still suffering post-traumatic stress and trauma from, well, post-traumatic stress is trauma. He was still in a really bad headspace because of the events that happened on Paradis. I'm sure he has a lot of regret going over there and realizing, because he was telling his family the story on the dinner table, that they are not all devils, okay? They're people. There's good people there. There's bad people, just like there's people over here. So he had this really crisis of, it's not a crisis of faith, it's like a crisis of worldview. Big crisis of worldview, you know what I mean? Like this ideology that was driven into him his whole life, that drove his primary motivation when we saw him in the first 3 seasons. His primary motivation has come crashing down as he was realized that they're not all bad people and it's all just kind of a joke. Kind of like politics, right? We also got to see Peck, the Cart Titan. And I hate the Cart Titan so much, but the Cart Titan was really cool in that first episode. And Peck seems like she's really cool. I like Peck. Okay? And Galliard. And Galliard was, you know, he was kind of knocking Galliard, the Jaw Titan. Okay, he was knocking Reiner because of his brother Marcel. You know, I like Galliard. He's cool. I'm trying to be fast here so I can jump into the episode, guys. We have Gabby and Falco basically going head to head. Well, they're all 4 of the children are trying to inherit the Armor Titan. Gabby seems to be she's in first place by a large margin. And I feel like Falco obviously has a crush on her. So he was talking to Reiner on the train, and basically they were like, hey, we want to spare. I don't know why Reiner wants to throw this kid under the bus, though. I mean, Gabby is his family, so I get that. But you're using this kid's love and his motivation, which probably reminds Reiner of himself a little bit, you know what I mean? To further Reiner's agenda by not having Gabby having to go through the trauma that he went through. So the big thing is, we had all of the shifters and their shifter war council in Zeke's office talking about what are we going to do? The Eldians are going to become useless, and that's really bad for our people. We're going to get the Tiber people, who I found out in the episode that they basically went against the Eldian royal family, and that's why they aren't subject to the same persecution as the rest of the Eldians. They're actually very revered. They have the Hammer, I think they said the Hammer Titan. Okay. We also found out the War Council was eavesdropping. Zeke knew that, gave everyone a hint, like, hey, they're not in this room, and I think Reiner picked up on that as well. Other than that, guys, I'm excited to see the Tiber family, find out more about the Hammer. Is it the Hammer Titan? What? I don't have it written down right here. I'm literally going by memory. I think I'm done okay, though. I'm kind of surprising myself. Yeah, so this is the Warhammer Titan. The Warhammer Titan. Okay, I think the Warhammer Titan. So hopefully we get to see that in this episode. Get to see the Tiber family, find out more about them. And yeah, just see, and you know, I have a feeling that we're not going to get to see Eren and Mikasa and Armin yet. But hopefully when we do, it'll be satisfying. Other than that, guys, that was my little mini synopsis of the previous episode. Now I'm going to jump into this episode, Season 4, Episode 3. And I'm super pumped. We're going to start right now. Alright, so before I do my breakdown, that was a cool freaking episode. I can't even talk about that. Eren Yeager is in Marley. Oh, man. Like, I'm 90... I mean, that is definitely Eren. And I thought the voice sounded different at first, and then it kept sounding more and more like Eren. And the way he kept talking about being pushed into battle, and just, you know, like the subtitle told me his name was Kruger. So that planted a seed in my mind that kind of grew. So obviously, Eren Kruger was the owner of the Attack Titan before Grisha Yeager. Yeah, so, oh, dude, I can't believe. Okay, so Eren is like Bertolt, and Annie. Like, he is. I mean, he's got long. He looks like a badass, dude. And he's missing a leg, but I assume he can grow that back easily because they can heal. So he just might. He must be powerful enough where he can control his rate of healing. Which I'm not sure if they introduced that before. I can't remember. So maybe let me know. But oh, dude, I'm so dude. I was slowly realizing it was Eren. Oh, dude, it was so cool. Oh, he looks so fucking cool, man. Like, I just can't get over Eren being in it. I think that's such a badass thing. But here's the thing, is he going to, like, turn into the Attack Titan and beat the shit out of all those guys? Just like, you know, because, like, Eren, his ideology now is, it's got to be really bad. With that scene we had last season where he put his hand on that one Titan who couldn't walk because there's no arms, no legs, or his legs were very small, and his extremities were very small. He puts his hand on him and says, oh, so he was a patriot. And he's looking at the sea, which used to represent freedom, and now it just represents this divide between him and the people who've been trying to kill, who killed his family, who've been killing his friends. Like, it's people. So now, yeah. Oh my gosh. Like, dude, I didn't even notice that we didn't get into, who the fuck were they? The Warhammer Titan or anything like that. God, dude, I am so pumped that, dude, that's such a cool way to reveal him. So he's hiding in plain sight, acting like, an injured vet, right, on his crutch. And the thing is, the way it concealed his face made me more suspicious also when I was watching the scene. And I remember he was the guy who fell down, who had the armband on the wrong arm. Oh, dude. So let me just break the episode down now. I keep fangirling pretty much over Eren, you know? So, we have Reiner in his child home in Liberia, okay? He's in his bed. He's outgrown it. His feet are hanging over the side. And he's reminiscing on his past, okay? And we find out that out of all the warrior candidates, man, it was so cool to see them when they were younger. Because of probably Final Fantasy VIII and Gundam Wing. Child soldiers, although in the real world was a terrible thing, but in fiction, it's always been a really interesting thing for me, because when I was that age, I'm like, well, I can be a Gundam pilot, you know? I could be like Gohan in Dragon Ball Z, you know what I mean? Like, I could be like Squall and Cypher and Zell and, you know, Galbadia Academy and Final Fantasy VIII. So it's just interesting to see them so young, and obviously they've been brainwashed with the Marleyan ideology that the Eldians are devils on parody. Okay, we must kill them, and if you want to be an honorary Marley, and if you want to be forgiven for the sins of your ancestors, then you need to rise up, be a part of what we do, go kill them. So, but Reiner was he's like the least capable warrior candidate. He wasn't, as a young Galliard said, I believe it was Galliard said, he wasn't the strongest, fastest, or smartest. He wasn't the best fighter. he kept giving Reiner grief about it, like picking on him, dude. So is Galliard's name Pock or Porco or Galliard? Like, I really don't know. Is Galliard his last name? Because people call him Galliard. His brother is Marcel. So is it Marcel Galliard and Porco Galliard? I like Galliard. It's a cooler name. I actually like Galliard. I didn't appreciate him picking on Reiner. But it's interesting how much Reiner has changed since he was a child. Wow. This episode hyped me the fuck up. Okay, so Reiner... Okay, I imagine that they all want to free Eldians. Free their Eldian brethren, okay? They all want freedom for themselves, okay? But Reiner has another... he has another layer of desire to him for wanting to be a warrior candidate. As he wants to do so his mom and dad can be together because his dad was Marleyan. And his mother told him when he was a child, before he became an actual warrior, that if it wasn't because we're Eldian devils, then your father would live with us. So that's what he wanted to do. Oh, man. Oh, man. Okay, we also have a little flashback. And I think, because I think I remember complaining about the art style in the first season. They used to have these really bold lines around the characters. Kind of like they're cel-shaded in a way. Except it doesn't have the charm of like a Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Or, you know, like a Killer 7 to pull it off, in my opinion. It's much better looking now. But when we saw these flashbacks, they didn't have that art style that we saw originally when we watched them. They had the modern, updated look. So it was interesting that they kind of redid that in the new style instead of just plugging in the old show. I appreciate that. We saw the Forbidden Book that Armin had. It talks about the ocean and the mountains. And that's what one of the things that were influencing Armin and Eren. That was one of the things in the back of their head pushing them. It was a motivation for them to see the ocean. Okay, and not dying until they got to see the ocean. But anyways, so we have this awesome montage, kind of like Ocean's 11, when like they're picking out all the people that they need to do for their heist. Like, we can go with this guy. He's good at this. We can do Annie. Okay, she's a good fighter. We can do Pike. I keep calling her Peck. She's perfect for the Cart Titan because she's got good endurance. You know, just that was a cool little montage, and then we got to see them all fighting together, and they are freaking scary. Okay, like, it's weird. Like, I never saw them as kids until I saw them as kids in this. I thought like they were in their mid-20s when we saw them, but they were in their teens. Okay, and it seems like, yeah, they're around the same age, just a little bit older than Eren and Armin. Like, they're just like a little taller. They might be a couple years older. So I didn't. Yeah. I guess what confused. Okay, first of all, let me say that scene where they're all fighting together, where Annie like freaking karate kicks that tower, and then we had that God of Destruction moment with Bertolt when he cuts his finger, he explodes, and the animation looks like an atomic bomb. Dude, oh my gosh, that was so cool. Oh, dude. Oh, man. Okay, so Porco, or Galliard, he can't believe that Reiner got the Armored Titan. And then we had Marcel apologizing, and we find out later it's because Marcel diminished the strengths of his brother and exaggerated his weaknesses to the military so he would not get selected. Okay, I see in the subtitles right now, Porco Galliard and Marcel Galliard. And just like how Reiner and Falco do not want Gabby to inherit the Armored. Okay, it's kind of like the same thing. That Marcel didn't want his brother to die in 13 years. For Falco to really have that realization, because he's a young kid. Most kids don't look at the big picture. Even though they are, I think, normally much more afraid than adults. They also, I think, can be brainwashed easily. So Falco's kind of looking at the big picture for Gabby, just like Marcel was looking at the big picture for what I see from the cast, Porco. His brother's name is Porco. I've just been calling him Galliard. I'll probably continue to call him Galliard as well. So that way he can save his brother from an early death. So yeah, he basically throws Reiner under the bus. But hey, it's his brother. It's a piece of shit thing to do, but it's his brother. I get it. I'd fuck people over for my kids. to save them, you know, and I expect them to do the same, you know. Marcel saved his brother, Porco. That way Porco would not inherit, Zach just sneezed, the Armor Titan, thus saving his life. That's why he was apologizing to Reiner, because of the guilt that he felt. This show has shown us historically that people wake up and realize it's kind of it's an honor, but it's a death sentence. But, you know, is it an honor? Because Annie, who was kicking the shit, I mean, this is after the campfire moment when, oh wow, it's just a scary, scary thing to think about that happening to a kid. Just because I hate it when we see it. It's just a terrible thing to see. But then to think of it happening to a kid, how scared they are, just being cut down before they get to live their life. We see Ymir eat Marcel, they all run away. I just don't understand. They're trained warriors. They've mastered the ability to shift back and forth. Why didn't they shift? How are they so paralyzed by the fear at this point in their mission? Especially if Marcel is the leader. I mean, maybe it just happened so fast, but I mean, I just figured, you know, when Eren got eaten, thank God that he was intact enough to where his spinal fluid wasn't ingested. Because it has to happen a certain way. Like, yeah, your spinal fluid, oh yeah, Eren, it just makes me think that, like, if Eren's head accidentally got crushed and he just wasn't in the stomach, then he could have died. You know what I mean? So there was a big risk factor there. I just, honestly, my ass just kind of thought about that now. But we all know Ymir gets the power and then gets sent back to Marley later on and gets killed. Or gets sent back to Marley, Liberia, wherever. But yeah, they run away. Ymir's kicking the shit out of him, and she's like, hey, listen, Eldian, Marleyan, they're all the same. Like, they don't care about us. We have to survive. I have to survive. I have to get home too. I thought she's being a little harsh. But, you know, she's an ass kicker. So, you know, I get that. I've lost my temper, punched people before. And these are kids. So the camaraderie that I thought they might have developed without Marcel's leadership, they kind of were just fighting. They weren't as capable as a team as I think Eren and Armin and Mikasa. Okay, that trio is probably better than this trio. Okay, and then we had the moments where they shifted and destroyed the wall, which is just, it was a hard moment. Now it's a harder now because we have these kids. Like, it just, they really look like kids in there, man. Like, you know, Reiner, he looks like a kid, dude. And he doesn't know the answers. And for Reiner, like, to be in the armor, like, charging at the wall, he's a kid who doesn't have answers. He wants answers. He wants to make a difference. He wants to help. He wants to change things before he dies. I felt for him. I really did. It's just a shame that evil people with these bad ideologies have brainwashed these children. And now our children are all fighting each other for the sins of the fathers, right? Eren he adopted an ideology because of, like, the extreme prejudice that he was shown. So, like, it just kind of makes you think about real life, you know what I mean? Like, if Eren was in that situation, he wouldn't be that way. You know what I mean? So now he got to the point where he wanted to kill Titans because they represented the thing that killed his mother, which we did get to see the smiling Titan. She just kind of walks past Bertolt. So to me, that was interesting. Like, why didn't she go for Bertolt? We know now that she was telling Grisha that no matter in this form or the next form, this life or the next life, I will find you. That was said before she got injected and pushed over and she turned into the smiling Titan, which is real freaky. So it's interesting that her first instinct was to go to Grisha's house. But, like, I guess I just don't have any, there's no evidence. I mean, I could be just a dummy, but I didn't see if there's any really evidence in the show to why she would go, how she would know that's Grisha's house. What would lead her there? And you know what? Eating, you know, I can imagine her eating his new wife. Like, I don't have a, but, like, I guess, yeah. And that was just interesting to me, is she was able to overcome her Titan, I don't want to say her Titan brain, okay, but her instinct as a Titan to eat anything and any person that she sees. She overcame that, went to Grisha's house, ate Eren's mother, Grisha's new wife, setting up the chain of events that led to Eren's his despising of the Titans and wanting to kill them and reach the sea and everything else. And then we have that big line which gave it away, which no, just completely confirmed it, because I already knew, but it confirmed it. We had the flashback and I believe it was kind of the new animation too, not the bold line one. Eren is trying to learn how to use the ODM gear, and if we all remember, if I remember correctly, his was malfunctioning as well. But Reiner tells him, you got to keep moving forward. And another thing, I want to ask a question. So after they kicked in the wall, they were kind of hunkered over in that tavern. They looked older at that point, but when they were on their way to the wall, and there was a campfire scene, and Marcel gets eaten. To me, it looked like there was a time jump, which between then and when they kicked in the wall, there shouldn't have been a time jump. I don't think. I don't know. They just seemed older. But then Marcel says, "Hey, I will be Reiner." He was fucking getting Annie in a chokehold, saying, "Hey, no, Reiner is dead. I will be Marcel." And then we see this brave, like very motivated Reiner from here on out. Like he's a badass. We see him later on. They call him Oxface because he's got that. He just develops into like a strong, muscular looking dude. You know what I mean? Seems like a really capable, brave warrior. And they were already brave, anyways, right? But we also have that scene with Annie going down the alley, and she was like, what was she following? She was following Kenny Ackerman, probably because of his ties to that regime, like the royal family. And he was also had ties with the true king within the walls. Yeah, so she was following him because she was, they had to, their job was to take down the regime, get the founding titan, okay? So it was just interesting. I guess I don't really know why we saw Kenny other than just to have Kenny in it. I love Kenny though. But she was out doing her mission. It looked like Annie was starting to get regrets because she's like, I'm going to puke. These people are our friends. Are you sure you want to do this? He's in Braun. It's like, listen, they're not our friends, they're devils. So he's doubling down. It wasn't until a little later on that he stops, that ideology comes under, he starts to rethink that because he has some kind of mental crisis of ideology when he realizes, hey, these people are just people. That's my gist, my little breakdown of the episode so far. I really enjoyed this episode. It was so freaking cool seeing Eren. I love that guy, man. Like, I'm just wondering how much he's changed. You know what I mean? And what is Armin? Where's he at? Where's Mikasa? How much have they all changed? How long has Eren been? How long has it been since he's infiltrated the Marley military? I just think it's really cool that we're seeing like Reiner's almost the main character. Like if we're watching for the very first time, we're seeing these first 3 episodes. Then it's just like they're centering the story around Reiner because I imagine he's going to come into conflict with Eren. And we have Eren. It's so perfect that Eren is just mirroring Reiner. They're like alike. They're just doing what they need to do to save the world. Reiner was brainwashed, and I get why Reiner. I completely get him now. I still think fuck Zeke. He's a piece of shit. But I get for the most part why they are the way they are. But Eren, yeah, I mean, I get why he hates them. I get why he's infiltrating. He's probably going to screw them over. I just wonder how that confrontation is going to go about. I hope it's done in a satisfying way. I imagine it will be because this show is just surprising and satisfying. This is the one episode where I wish we could have, the traditional reaction. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to just put this on Google Drive or anything or anything like that, folks. So don't want to get your hopes up. I'm super impressed with this show. It's like it might be like one of my favorite animes of all time right now. I don't know. I just can't go on enough about it. Unfortunately, I had to end this video pretty soon. I have a question, but I kind of answered it in my own head canon. So they're gone for at least 5 years. Excuse me. Man. Oh. Okay, so they're gone for at least 5 years. Like, if I'm back at Marley thinking, hey, man, 3 of our warrior titans are fucking out. We haven't seen them for 5 years. I'd be worried about them turning. You know what I mean? They're young kids, and if they spend 5 years, I mean, they're like, 10, 12, 13, they spend 5 years on the other side. That's almost half their lives. In terms of their consciousness, like their memory, like going back in time, you remember stuff, I don't know, like pretty much from the age of 5 and before. Some people remember stuff when they're 3. I remember some stuff when I'm 3 or 4. But for them, 5 years is half their life. That's just a hell of a thing to rely on these kids to do that, to be deep cover. So I'm just wondering how they communicated. If they actually showed that already, then that's on me. I just didn't remember. But I do know, like, if they do go back to the docks, that eventually a ship will come. Or maybe there's someone, maybe at that point in time there was someone manning them, or they had someone permanently stationed, because they're probably very confident that no one would get far enough from the walls. You know what I mean? But, okay, yeah, guys, I don't got too much else to say. I loved seeing Eren come back the way he is. And, you know, in the way he was talking to Falco. Man, that was so cool. Like, I love this show. My favorite moment was definitely Eren's face saying, "You have to move forward." Okay? And for me, an emotional moment was just Reiner going into that diner, that small little restaurant cafe area, and trying to talk to his biological father and being rejected, and then realizing, like, you know, my primary motivation for doing this was kind of pointless. And I love seeing all the Titans. Even though I hate what the Titans have done to my heroes on Parody, I love seeing all the battle, like the shifters, like being badasses together. That was cool. Oh man, now I'm thinking in my head, I'm doing all these like forward flips, like what's going to happen? Eren's going to come and claim. Is he probably going to come there and he's trying to find out as much information as he can? And you know, are they going to? Is he going to shift and just start killing everybody? Like, I can't imagine that's going to happen. I mean, maybe. He had to have really changed, but if he did change that much, I guess it wouldn't surprise me. You know, I figured most people, I don't want to say people become less bitter over time. I'd definitely become more bitter. So he could be more bitter, resentful, and yeah. I mean, they fucked them up last time that they were there. You know what I mean? Killing Irvin and half the Survey Corps. You know, I mean, I know his motivations. He wants to take them down, but I'm just wondering how that's all going to go about. And him and Reiner have to have a meaningful confrontation. Reiner, like I said, he feels very bad for everything he's done. So, but I don't think Eren cares. You know what I mean? Obviously. I'm hoping Eren, now that he's lived here, he's going to realize, hey, all these Eldian people are persecuted and they're brainwashed by the Marley are the real bad guys. Like, they truly are the real bad guys. I mean, I know that they have an ideology, and that ideology is inherited, and that ideology is inherited. But just like racism, there's a point in time where I feel like you got to wake up. You know what I mean? I feel like Commander McGath, who, according to the according to these credits, is Theo McGath. I don't remember seeing Theo, but I guess his full name is Theo. But yeah, we have Theo McGath. He seems to not be a complete bigot. You know what I mean? Like, there is a hierarchy. Like, animals and humans, all the way from people down to crustaceans, they sort themselves into hierarchies. And right now, that hierarchy, Marley's hate for Eldians is permeating that hierarchy. So I think he's a member of the hierarchy, but I don't know if he's adopted that deep-seated hatred. You know what I mean? Like Karina Braun, she seemed to have a seething hatred for the Island Devils. You know what I mean? Theo McGath, he seems more like, this is the military, I'm in charge, I'm on the top, you're on the bottom. You're a maggot, I'm an alpha male. You know what I mean? Right now we're using the Eldians, so I'm going to use them. But I don't know if he's a believer. You know what I mean? Like, Reiner was a believer, and now he's not a believer. He has adopted, he has shifted his ideology. Because he has been woke. I hate that word, but he's been what's a better word than woke? Basically, his ideology he's scrutinized and probably self-reflected a lot at his time when when he was within the walls on Parody. Okay, and that's why we had that scene where he's going to kill himself, man, which was pretty deep. And it was basically Grice slamming his hand against the wall, and he kind of unknowingly saved Reiner's life. And Reiner's like, hey, I still have to live for these kids. I'm still going to live for them. I got to keep moving forward. Okay? He told Eren to keep moving forward. And then Eren told Falco, I'm going to keep moving forward. Now I'm going to move forward turn this off, upload it, so I can get it to you guys as fast as I can. You guys have a great night. Thanks for watching. Bye. Thank you so much for watching my little micro 1-minute reaction of this show, my review, my analysis. Hope it was satisfying because this episode was certainly awesome. I loved it so much. If you like what I do and you want to support me, you want to support the other guys in this channel, just like and subscribe, hit that notification, leave a comment down below. Thank you.